Scooby-Doo, where are you? We've got a mystery on our hands. Last night, Sky News aired a 10-minute interview with former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn. In it, Sophie Ridge asked him a range of questions over Ukraine, austerity, and of course, Israel's genocide in Gaza. But there was one issue Ridge just couldn't resist bringing up.
Now, there'll be some who, I'll be honest, think I shouldn't be interviewing you on Gaza because you're expelled from Labour after a highly critical report by the Equality and Human Rights Watchdog about anti-Semitism in the Labour Party.
I was not expelled for anti-Semitism.
About after your response to the report from the Equalities and Human Rights Watchdog about anti-Semitism in the Labour Party under your watch. Yeah. They say that they were concerned by lack of leadership in the Labour Party on those issues. What would you say to that?
Two things. One is anti-Semitism is an evil, and one anti-Semite in any party is one too many, and I said that at the time. What I did say, and I stand by, was that many of the claims were actually fallacious claims that were not borne out by any facts or any investigation. There was an exaggeration of them. However, I stand by the issue that anti-Semitism is an evil within our society in exactly the same way Islamophobia is an evil within our society. What's going on in Gaza is a crime against humanity, as the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court and the Geneva Convention on the responsibilities of occupying powers have shown.
Some people think I shouldn't even speak to you because of some confected, media-driven nonsense that happened 6 or more years ago. Now, look, Corbyn has answered those questions over and over again. He's been tortured by them, constantly having to relitigate a position he's made clear time and time again. But if that wasn't bad enough, and here's where the mystery, the shenanigans come in. When I watched the uploaded version of the interview earlier today, I noticed a whole chunk had disappeared. In fact, what Sky did was first upload the full version, then bin it, then re-upload a new version a few hours later with 1.5 minutes cut out. Luckily, our amazing producer, Gary, managed to get the original. Here's a section Sky tried to stop us seeing.
You say that anti-Semitism is evil, that it's wrong. You are also a member of the Independent Alliance Party.
It's a group, not a
group.
Party, yeah.
Yes, apologies, a grouping.
Yeah.
Just to look at some of the examples of people in the grouping, Ayub Khan resigned from the Lib Dems after being ordered to undertake anti-Semitism training, which he disagreed with. Adnan Hussein, at a rally in 2014, claimed Israel's military operation was a Holocaust. Mohammed Iqbal was suspended from Labour after allegedly making anti-Semitic comments at a meeting. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you feel it is wrong that you have been expelled from Labour for these reasons, you're not really helping the case for the defence here, are you?
They are good colleagues, and they're very good at representing their constituency and very determined to bring about peace and justice for the Palestinian people. They have exactly the same views as all the rest of us are, that racism is an evil in society. They have themselves suffered racism as Muslim people. They do not want to put the same onto Jewish people. And so we've had plenty of discussions.
So you're comfortable with all of these? Have you spoken to them about some of these reports?
I work with them. We work with them, and we particularly raise issues of human rights. We raise issues about refugees. We raise issues about bringing peace to the Middle East. Surely that is a good way forward.
Now, we don't know exactly why Sky scrapped that question. There does seem to be one pretty humiliating factual error in there, with Ridge embarrassingly confusing independent MP Iqbal Mohammed with a Labour councillor called Mohammed Iqbal. Let me just say that again. Independent MP Iqbal Mohammed has never been accused of anti-Semitism of any kind. And I think the councillor, Mohammed Iqbal, was accused but was reinstated by the Labour Party. But as if that wasn't embarrassing enough, this whole line of questioning it's cringe, it's desperate, it's deeply lazy journalism. And its whole point is that it wants to make Jeremy Corbyn answer for other MPs who aren't there to speak for themselves in an attempt to discredit him and them as effective voices for Gaza. It wants to group them together, use the word anti-Semitism, and therefore cancel out their voices, their very loud voices, as they stand up for Palestinians being blown to pieces in Gaza. Helena, I think you did see the full interview. What did you make of it?
Yeah, we watched this on stream. And, the mix up with regards to Iqbal Muhammad versus Muhammad Iqbal was something that I found out with 5 minutes of Googling midstream. If I can do that, and we can do that, but the Sky News people who are there to research this stuff can't do that. What does it say about our legacy media that 5 minute Google search to try and fact check their own claims before broadcasting wasn't something that they were able to do before even interviewing Jeremy Corbyn in the first place, let alone before it's been broadcast the first time? The claim about Ayub Khan, one of the other independent MPs, was regarding him leaving the Liberal Democrats because of being asked to do anti-Semitism training for statements that he'd made. The statements that he made was asking for the footage from October the 7th that was only shown to journalists to be broadcast publicly and questioning Israeli claims over beheaded babies on October the 7th, which he was right to question because it turns out it was all total nonsense made up by an Israeli NGO worker. There was no basis in fact, even when Joe Biden pretended that he'd seen the photos that didn't exist. And this is, again, as you say, actually, despite how kind of funny it is looking at the failure of legacy media to be able to report things properly, but the broader point here is that they were trying to discredit his own personal position, talking in that longer interview about what's going on in Gaza, his criticisms, his legitimate and factual criticisms of our government's not only kind of tacit complicity by being diplomatically tied to Israel, by still selling them 90% of the weapon licenses that we've currently got that are active outside of the ones that have been cancelled by David Lammy, but we're also a direct participant with regards to how we're getting military flights going from RAF Akrotiri to fly over Israel, even land in Tel Aviv. There was a transport just a couple of days ago, a very large transport that flew from Akrotiri to Tel Aviv. So we not just have some tacit endorsement, but direct endorsement of what's happening in Gaza through our diplomatic alignment with Israel. These were all very legitimate criticisms. And the point that Sophie Ridge made, that, as you said, was that you can't really speak about this because you were removed for anti-Semitism. When, of course, we have seen the Anushka Astana report in The Observer. She's clearly demonstrated, showing that people on the right of the Labour Party were trying to amplify dubious claims of anti-Semitism in random Facebook groups to smear the Labour leadership and the Labour Party more broadly to try and bring down Jeremy Corbyn. We know that his statement that he made after the EHRC report is based in fact from what we know now. So to try and relitigate this, to undermine his genuine principled stance against our government's complicity with the genocide in Gaza is, as far as I'm concerned, tantamount to journalistic malpractice.
Yeah, Jeremy Corbyn is a man, an extremely rare politician who I think has very rarely ever done anything just for himself. So all his politics, whether it's here in the UK or whether it's abroad, are completely centered on the most disadvantaged, the most crushed, the most destroyed. And because he won't stop talking about it, he has to constantly be tortured by this nonsense that occurred in our politics 5 years ago, more than 5 years ago now. Just give the man a break.